This is the Extra Point Podcast from Arizona's family.
All right, excited about this one. Approaching 17 years here in the Valley of the Sun. We've had a lot of great athletes, a lot of great stories, but our next guest, one of my favorite, one of the first guys that I actually covered here in the great state of Arizona for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He took the Valley by storm, and now he's coming back with the Savannah Bananas. We're talking about the one, the only Eric Byrnes joining us here on the Extra Point Podcast. Byrnesy, how are you?
Mark, I'm great, man. Thanks for having me. So I'm glad we were able to get together and relight the flame, man. I feel like we had a lot of good times together, whether it was hanging around the ballpark or bumping into you outside of it. It was a pretty cool time. I mean, every now and again, I'll send Chris Young and Justin Upton and maybe Gonzo a message, kind of like make 2006, 2007 great again.
Well, you know what? I was super nervous. I was the weekend guy in Spokane, and I got a job in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was like getting called up to the big leagues. I had no idea what I was doing. And lo and behold, one of the first nights I'm working, you hit a home run into a guy's beer, and the guy happened to be a Dodger fan. And
yes, center field. I'll never forget that, dude. That was, one of my prouder moments. A little bit later on, I believe, is when I hit a ball into some dude's French fries in TGI Fridays, which is another one of my more epic home runs, I think, that happened at Chase Field. I'm not sure if they're still calling it that, or the Bob, or whatever else, but that was a big moment. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, and that's the kind of stuff that, you're trying to ask intelligent questions about baseball, and then the fun stuff happens, and it makes you go, okay, this is really fun. Maybe I can do this after all. So I can't thank you enough for getting me going here. The family's been able to settle here in Phoenix. Been a great place to live, and I think if you don't hit that ball into the beer, maybe it's a different story here. So what a story it's been, by the way. But yeah, you're coming back to town here. This is pretty exciting. You played ball here. When was your last year here? Was it 2009, 2008, and then you went up to Seattle for a little while?
Yeah, it was 2000. I played there. So I got signed as a free agent in 2006. It was pretty cool because I was supposed to be a one-year stopgap center fielder until Chris Young came up, and ended up having a good year in 06, and then came back in 07. I had an awesome year then. It was just one of my favorite baseball teams I ever played in my life. Just a killer collection of dudes, 25 guys that really didn't care who got the credit. Everyone pulling the same direction. I think we far exceeded expectations. There was something about that team that I look at now as like a baseball analyst for No Filter Network that I'll look at it and I'll be like, dude, we had what was basically an even run differential, if not like we were negative.
That's right. The negative run differential.
Dude, we won like 90 games. Like, it's impossible to do what we did. And it just goes to show you that that's grit, that's talent. That's also, the coaches and the manager and Bob Belvin and what he meant to that team and that organization. But it was a really special time. 08 is when I got hurt. I tried to play through it, tore the hamstring off the bone, came back. I hit the hand, shattered my hand. And that was pretty much it. And 2009 I played through 08, 09, got released, and went on my merry way. Next thing you know, I was with the Mariners for a short period of time, and then at home making babies and living a whole different life, and got into the television and media world, and it's been a fun ride, man. I was actually just in the Valley, Mark, where I coach a youth travel ball team called Let Them Play, and we went out there. We played in a big perfect game tournament, and we ended up winning. It was like an 11-team major tournament, but you guys got some awesome baseball down there, and our boys they love traveling and getting out of state, and so it was pretty cool, and it was nice to be back in AZ.
Well, so you're coaching a couple different teams then, because I'm sitting here watching the documentary on the Savannah Bananas, and I was only familiar with them through TikTok and everything with my kids, and I had no idea that you were going to show up in that documentary. And when you did, I stood up off the couch and I said, and I'm watching it with my boys, and it was almost like, I know him. That's Eric. Yes, this is the perfect manager for the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, well, they reached out to me last fall, and it was Bill Leroy, who's their star catcher. And he says on Instagram, just a DM, he goes, have you ever heard of the Savannah Bananas? I'm like, I mean, of course, it's one of the greatest games in all of sports. And did I really know who they were, though? And then the answer to that was no. I had no clue. I thought they were a minor league team. And it turned out that they were not a minor league team. They were a college summer league team. But what they were doing is they were putting together what they called a premier team to go on an 8-city world tour in which they would play banana ball, which is a brand of ball that Jesse Cole, their owner, created. It has a 2-hour time limit. There is a rule where if you walk, it's not a walk, it's actually a sprint. So all 9 guys in the field have to touch the ball before you could actually tag the guy out. It typically means a double or triple, depending on how well your guys can play catch. And they have the rule, which I think is the greatest rule in all of sports, that if a fan catches a foul ball, it's an out.
They should adopt that in the pros. They really should.
Could you imagine right now, like watching these playoffs and, it really, and especially in a ballpark like Arizona where it's not necessarily always full, where you would have some like real go-hards out there with their mitts, like diehard Diamondback fans diving for balls in this, and you would have umpires out there. Yeah, so the rule came into effect. It actually, for the first time, when I saw it implemented, it saved us a game. It was a tight. We played match play with the innings. It was like if you win the first inning, then you're up 1-0. But that's it. And so the next team, so you could score 6 runs in the first, and then boom, you win 6-0 in the first, but it doesn't matter because the next inning is up for grabs. So when we played a challenge series against the Kansas City Monarchs, who had 4 big leaguers from last year, Matt Adams, Pete Kozma, Vladimir Guerrero's cousin was there as well. And then a guy by the name of Sweeney. Sweeney was with the Royals last year. And so we're obviously up against it, right? And we had some good pro players, but we couldn't match up with what they had with the banana ball rule, where if they win 1 inning, they stomped us in the first inning, but we came back and won the second 1-0. And so the score in a normal game would have been 6-1, but in our game, it was 1-1, and it's on to the next inning. And so you play the best of 9. And it's just, dude, I've never seen anything like it. It's Broadway meets baseball. It's quality baseball. I don't think it would work if it wasn't quality baseball. I think that was a message as the manager of that premier team. I kept hammering home. And, I call me the manager, that head coach. The director of chaos is probably the best title. I'm dealing with the director of entertainment that's trying to do everything that he wants to do. I'm dealing with Jesse, who's the owner, who's wearing the yellow suit, and he's trying to do everything that he wants to do. At the same time, I legitimately am trying to manage a baseball game, and we're trying to win this thing because our normal team that we play against is the Party Animals. And they're our arch rivals, and they talk all kinds of trash, and it's just like, dude, like you're trying to balance all of this. And I think the end result, the end product is something that really has taken the world by storm. And they sell the tickets for $20. They've gone as high as, and this is just me checking because I'm trying to get tickets for friends and stuff as we were going around the country, and they've gone as high as $500. Wow. And there is a crazy demand for this. And the fact that now we're taking the show and expanding the show, we're playing in, I believe it's 30-something cities, 20-something states, 70-something dates, and coming to Scottsdale and Peoria. So if you have a chance to get a ticket, hop on it, because it is truly something like you've never seen in your life, and you will not be disappointed.
Oh, the McClones are going to be there for sure. We're fired up about this one, and I know most of the neighborhood is as well. All the ball players that my kids have grown up around. What can we expect? You mentioned Banana Ball a little bit, but as you get back out here, will there be any? Will you pay homage to the Arizona fans? Will there be any? Like we throw on your Diamondback jersey, the old pig pin. What Gracie called you pig pin, right? With the hair would get going like at Wrigley one time. You had I think you went head first and first, second, and third all in one setting. What should we expect from you when you come back to Arizona?
I don't know, man. I think like everything's so much of a circus, as we do this, that I would probably say, I guess, just expect the unexpected. I still have a lot of love for Diamondback fans. I hope the feeling is somewhat reciprocal. Obviously it didn't end exactly how I would have loved for it to end, but I think we had, just a couple really epic years. And I think it's just as a fan myself, and I think back, and I grew up a San Francisco Giants fan. So I think back to that 89 team, and, they didn't win the World Series, but I now do a show, an alternative broadcast, and we were just doing it tonight with these playoff games with Will Clark, who was my hero growing up. But I think about those teams, and I think about Boogie Bear, Kevin Mitchell. I think about Robbie Thompson, Mike Krukow, like all of these guys.
Jose Uribe.
Uribe. Like there's all of these people, these characters that define my childhood. And Will Clark got his number retired in July. It was July, the end of July. And I was on the field with Will. And since doing the No Filter Network podcast / video podcast is really what it is together, we've developed this really cool friendship. And so I'm on the field with guys like Dave Dravecki and Kevin Mitchell, who I just mentioned. And it was like, dude, this isn't Hackman, Jeffrey Leonard. And so I hope that there's some, I don't know, I guess now probably getting closer to like middle-aged men or women that remember my time there as a pretty cool period. And then, it wasn't long. It lasted a couple years, and we had, some moderate success. I mean, we got to the National League Championship Series. I think that's pretty badass if you ask me. And unfortunately, we ran into the buzzsaw that was the Rockies that were that hot. But that literally was a team that was such an awesome team that they could have won the World Series. So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to pay homage and, the D-backs. I'd love to have the D-backs involved somehow when the Bananas come to town. And hopefully we can work something out. And, I think more than anything, it's just, really what the Bananas are, Mark, is a celebration of baseball and a celebration of having fun. The irony is that we got these cell phones, right? And we live in a 15-second TikTok world. But the Bananas, as great as they are on TikTok, and I get it, they have 3.5 million followers. Like the highest MLB team's not even at a million.
Wow.
And you have 3.5 million followers on TikTok. It's a better show in person than it is on TikTok. I know that's hard to believe, but if you're able to come and you're able to experience it, you're gonna be like, what was that? And it impacted my life. It did. And I don't know how many of the games that I'm going to do. I don't know exactly what my quote title or role is going to be. Right now, we're kind of playing around with it. We'll call it Director of Chaos. Tyler Gillum, who was the head coach of the college team, is now officially the coach of the premier team, or they call it a three-headed monster with Gillum, myself, and Adam Byron, who was a Party Animals head coach. I think down the line, that could be something that would be interesting, is because there's a whole element of this where you have the Party Animals who are like the villains. And if you ask me, they're kind of cooler than the Bananas. Like that's a whole character development thing that they could.
Are you going to switch sides? Could you be traded?
Dude, I think this is something that my kid's going to be a party animal for Halloween, Mark. And He got a party animal shirt that says Biscuit on the back, which is his nickname. I don't know. But overall, what's really cool about it, we're all one big show. This isn't a separation between, the bananas and the party. But this is one happy family. It's one big family. The party animal guy was the guy that came up with his bat on fire. Zach Whalen is his name. And then hit a bullet up the middle. And if you remember the clip at all, it was a number one player on SportsCenter. But we played, of course, an unconventional defense, and we played a rover, which he stands as the same thing I do with the youth, with our let them play travel team. And basically, he stands right, pretty close behind second base, where if he gets a hot shot up the middle, boom, he gets it, he fires to first, and he threw it. And I think it was Malachi Mitchell, who's one of the fastest guys you'll ever see on a baseball field. So like all these guys are incredibly talented. And it's not necessarily major league talent for whatever reason. Like Malachi is like fastest dude you ever see on a baseball field, probably lacks the hit tool. Great outfielder. But when they're lacking one thing, but they're also so freaking talented. Our shortstop, he'll field balls between his legs. We have outfielders catching balls and doing backflips at the same time. So although the talent might not translate to what you would see in the big leagues, it's next level original. And I think that's what just makes the whole product.
And there's a kid from Shadow Mountain on the team too, from San Jose State. Is it Koi? K-O-I? I was looking at the roster today. I don't know if he's played a game yet, but it looked like there might be a local kid coming to town.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, the more the better. The roster turns over in a hurry. We lose a lot of guys, at least we did last year, to professional baseball. And the independent teams, I think the cool thing that you're going to see as we go ahead and go on into the future is that this will be the number one destination if you're not in an organization. So I think the dream of playing in the big leagues, if these kids have it, they have an opportunity, 100%, you stick with it, you go with it. If you're in an organization, you stay. But if you're not in an organization, that's where we could take over. I mean, look, I'm not the bookkeeper with the Savannah Bananas, but obviously we've done really well. We've sold out for, I think it's 5 consecutive years of that college summer team. We sold out every game of the world premier team. There was a game in West Palm Beach which is notorious for not getting great crowds. And there was a game that the Astros played right before us. It was the Astros versus Nationals. And they got like 900 people at the game. 2 hours after that game ended, the Savannah Bananas played their game. And there were 9,000 people.
Wow.
It's head scratching. But it's entertainment. It's, I get it. Like we can't compete with playoff baseball. There's, this stuff here is it's awesome, right? Like this is when we really get into it. But go to a spring training big league game or go to Savannah Bananas, that's not much of a choice. I mean, it's bananas all day.
So was coaching always the path? Like, do you think this continues for you? And you do the travel ball with your boy. By the way, is he wearing 22? Have we got a little left fielder out there who runs through walls?
He is. He's done well. He's good. The crazy thing is that, like, in his critical years, learning the game of baseball was COVID, where he was, 8, 9 years old. And so there was no baseball being played. So we went out here in the front yard and I grabbed the tennis ball right here. And I said, this is how I learned how to play the game. And this is how you're going to learn. And just started firing balls at him. And we would have these battles, and these one-on-one battles, and he pitched to me and I pitched to him, and we go back and forth. And then from there, California wasn't playing. So we put together a travel team that would go wherever they would play. And Arizona was one of the places that was still playing. Texas was still playing. And we started playing tournaments in Arizona, in Texas. And slowly, kind of with a couple buddies of mine that have played baseball with at UCLA, we put all the kids together and we created this team. And, look, we finished top 20 last year in the nation for our 11U. And I think we were just getting started in that. And then, so far this season, we lost our first game of the year and then racked off 21 straight wins. And it's pretty special. Like, I didn't think I'd love it that much. I think that, it was one thing coaching. It's one thing coaching your own kid. And he was going to get the knowledge and expertise that I had, whether he liked it or not. I was going to give it to him, right? But to be able to spread that information and share that information and see other kids apply that's been probably the most rewarding thing that I've done since playing. And I love the media stuff that I do. I do a podcast 5 days a week, Monday through Friday on No Filter Network. And I do the thing with Will Clark, which is like an alternative broadcast, raw, totally unfiltered, no censor. We really enjoy doing that. But quite frankly, there's nothing like taking some real hard knowledge through experience that I was able to get and then passing that on to the next generation and then seeing it actually come to fruition. So, yeah, it's pretty special. And I love it a lot.
So what do your kids say when they see you out playing banana ball with do you wear a boa? Is it like a leopard kind of robe?
Yeah, they think I'm crazy.
You don't wear that coaching club ball?
Dude, my girls are like, Daddy, are you serious? And I do. I wear a leopard skin coat, cut off sleeves. Zach Walls, who was best friends with Pat Tillman, and it's how I got to really know Pat, although we grew up in the same area in the Bay Area. Zach was a linebacker for the Arizona Cardinals. A tall, skinny white dude. Had no business playing in the NFL, but he was quick and he was agile and he figured out a way to do it. When he went to the combine, he put like quarters in his jock strap to get to be above 200 pounds, and that was
they'll never check there.
No, exactly. So Zach had a cut-off leopard skin fur coat back in the day, and he used to roll a Chevy Impala up to Axis Radius and get out with his leopard skin fur coat. And I'm like, dude, this is what I need to be wearing when I manage the Savannah Bananas in 20 years from now. So I went with it.
Did you ever think, was this the path? Like, was the coaching, is the dream to maybe even be managing coaching in the playoffs one day in MLB, or is kind of banana ball right up your alley?
Banana ball is obviously right up my alley. And I humbly say that I could manage in the big leagues tomorrow. It's in my blood. It's what I do. It's the whole coaching thing, dealing with people. I think that's a trait that would come very easy. I think managers now are a little bit more of liaisons between the front office and the players, and it's something that I think just comes very, very natural. I think, right now at this stage of my life, and I said this in the documentary, Mark, if the two, probably two of the bigger landing spots for me, if to manage the big leagues, would be the San Francisco Giants, who I still live. Well, I live in Tahoe / San Francisco Bay Area, Half Moon Bay, just south of San Francisco. So I split my time between the two. So that would be obviously very convenient. Dan, they're going to be competitive every year. And then the other one, just because it's a bright light, it's a big city, and I had a place there that just recently sold when I was working back at MLB Network, would be like the Yankees or the Mets. And if the Giants, Yankees, Mets, whoever had called last year, the same time the Savannah Bananas did, and they said, we want you to be our manager, the answer would have been no. And it would have been like, dude, I can't believe you guys would even consider me. Thank you very much. But I'm just not there at that point in my life. We just, co-founded a brand new live streaming platform, which is No Filter Network. On top of that, it was the coaching. and coaching the kids and having the impact. And the question becomes, what sort of impact as a manager, are you having? Like, what are your goals and what are your intentions? And it's like, are you developing players? Which I still feel like we're doing with the Bananas, and to see the impact that we make on a nightly basis, where it's like the big leagues, and I'm not saying I wouldn't manage in the big, like I would love an opportunity one day to manage in the big leagues if it was ever presented to itself in the right situation. But you got to be that point in your life. You got to be at the point where it's like, boom, let's go. And I think when the kids get a little bit older, when I'm not coaching my own kids and everything else, and you can step back and be like, all right, now I can focus a little bit more on me, and I want to get in the trenches, and this is a focus and this is a goal. Cool. But other than that, man, there's nothing like giving. Like, we had a kid last week that he was off for a couple weeks. He missed one of the tournaments. Big talented kid, and he was swinging over every ball. Like, I'm throwing TV cheddar cheese to him, and we're facing a kid that's throwing 70 miles per hour on the mound, and I'm just like, dude, you got to make an adjustment. Like, look, feel the air passing your nostrils. Let's slow down for a second. Let's go back to the basics. What do you do really well? You hit the ball the other way. You've always hit the ball the other way really well with pop. I said, let's work on bat. We're here. This is our A position. This is our B position. Now we're in the slot. Now we're staying through it. Now we're going. Now it's like I've given myself a chance to get a hit to right field, to right center, to center field, to left center, to left. Here we go. He's like, okay. So like, Coach E, like, we're here and then we're here. I said, here. We're not swinging up with the baseball. We're not swinging down with the baseball. We're getting our play with the baseball, and we're staying through it. 2 kids were like this that day. 2 kids. They went 1 for 11 with 7 strikeouts the first day, and I had the conversation with both of them. The next day, 7 for 11, 3 homers, 3 doubles between the 2 of them.
Wow.
And like that, yeah, that's making an impact. That's hitting home. Teaching the game the right way, teaching the game positivity and love. With the Bananas, it's in the documentary, but the whole Let Them Play team came out and they played a game of banana ball. And these kids, they play free, they play fearless, they play with the passion and the energy and effort that, quite frankly, you don't see in travel ball. You just don't. And the reason why is because these kids become so uptight, they're worried about getting the next hit because they're going to lose their job, or they make an error, they're going to pull off the field. And I saw this stuff going on. They're overcoached. You know what I do? I teach the kids how to play. Everybody's got the green light at first base. Super, super aggressive. Run. Get a lead, get a jump, go. Read the slide step. If he's super quick and the catcher can throw, fine. Other than that, there's no take sign. 3-0, we're swinging. We're here to develop. We're here to figure out what our boundaries are, and that matters, and that's making an impact. And so would that be as impactful at the professional level when you're talking the big leagues? No. You're a relationship guy. You're a guy that's shaking hands and kissing babies and dealing with front office and analytics getting poured down on you, and you're trying to filter this out, and you're worried about every decision you're going to make, and you're trying to feed this to the players. I do think I could do that probably pretty well, just because I love analytics and I love the stats and I love everything, and I also love dealing with people. But I did for now. This youth baseball thing is it's taken on a life of its own, and we have. I think by the fall, or excuse me, by the new year, we'll probably have 6 or 7 different Let Them Play teams around the country. And that's pretty cool. And in my mind, like, that matters.
I've heard you give a lot of passionate answers over the years. That might be the most passionate answer I've heard you give on coaching. You can really tell where it comes from, man. I will leave you with this because we got to get ready for the television show. I could talk to you all day, and we'll try to track you down when you come out here for the Savannah Bananas tour. But I do think we should have the kid who won the Eric Byrnes lookalike contest make an appearance. When the Bananas come out here. I also think the old producer.
He's a broadcaster, Mark.
Is he really?
Yeah.
What?
He's like a professional broadcaster. So I think last time I saw him, he's in the Midwest, and his name's Eric too.
Yeah, I remember that. I interviewed the kid.
Eric O'Brien is his name. Let's look it up. Let's find him. If nothing else, we're gonna get not on a Zoom call. We're gonna get on No Filter next time, and we'll do a nice little reunion for this.
All right, and then Dan Omahan, who produced the Eric Byrnes show, a good buddy of mine who works at the NFL Network. I think we should have him trot on the field in his Padres gear just to get a round of applause.
Dude, I miss Dan. Some good people, dude.
Some good TV.
Yeah, it was Dan, and then Marcus was there after Dan.
Marcus Teets, yep.
Just good people. Good people, good times. You know, the memories somewhat fade, but I think the relationships they last forever, and just good catching up, dude. It really is.
Well, thanks for making time for us, and we cannot wait for you to get out here this spring and play some banana ball.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have some fun with it.
The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS 5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.